What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Warthog Gaming Podcast, hosted by me, Hamish Hector.
And me, Ollie from Barsby.
How you doing, Ollie?
I'm good. I said my name a bit weird there, but we'll move. We'll move on. It's been a long day. It's been a long 24 hours is how I will say that, how I can open this off. We'll talk about it later, but it's been a long 24 hours for somebody like us. But apart from that, I'm doing okay. I've had a nice bit of a chilled out week. Got to play a bit more games than normal, which is always good.
Oh, okay. What kind of stuff have you been playing? So just
I know there's one which we've both been playing, so we can talk about that in a minute. But of all the random games I've been playing, this one which you'd be like, why are you playing this game? Who even plays this? What even is this game? It's a game called Cricket 19, which is essentially FIFA but for cricket. Oh. And because there's been lots of cricket going on this week, I do like a good bit of cricket. So I've had this game since it came out in 2019, and it's just really fun just to go and play. Because if you don't know, cricket is like you will sit there all day and watch it. The matches last days sometimes in test matches, and you can literally just sit there and just be sat with your controller and just playing it all day, going no run, no, and then just yes, let's have fun there, just like a normal cricket game, and it's just really fun to play. And I got massively into the career mode on it, and I'm like, I get working like, yeah, go on with that. I'm always very excited by it. It's just one of those random games where everyone has like a guilty pleasure, which is probably about I don't know 100 people, 1,000 people who probably play this game still, and it's one of those guilty pleasure. I'm like, this is a good game. I mean, it's an okay simulation. There's still lots of things which could be improved, but for a sport not as popular as football or the big ones, very good. So I've been playing a lot of that. Literally, like I've been working in the morning and then having lunch and then just playing this game for like 3-4 hours in the afternoon, then watching the cricket when it's on the evening. It's been a great life.
Wow, okay, I'm not as big a fan of cricket, so that does shock me. It's just like, okay, I mean, Ollie, you do you. If that's the game you want to play, you go ahead.
All these games have come out, nope, don't care.
Screw that. Cricket 19. It's weird because it's like it was 20 cricket 20, cricket maybe 21.
They don't do it. They don't do any cricket 20s or 21. They've just got 19 at the moment. They might do anotother one.
So did they make cricket 19 and just think, oh, we'll definitely make a 20? This will sell so well.
They made it's like they do them when the Ashes are on, and so the Ashes are every 2 years. So it's 17, 19, and 21. So I think they usually do them every 2 years. So there might be one next year. Keep your eye out for a game from Big Ant Studios.
The hot game.
I will be the first in line to pre-order it. I'll tell you that.
I mean, that's very fair. I have not been playing Cricket 19.
No.
The only game ignoring Fortnite and my usual slew of mobile games because I'm addicted to terrible, rubbish free-to-play games. I have also been playing a game that's not free-to-play, but it's £4 on Steam. And it's
free-to-play on mobile, though, isn't it?
That's fair, but I wanted the cool pet.
I've been playing on Steam as well.
And it is Among Us, the great game with all the imposters. You're running around. I was going to say a spaceship, but you can also fly around like on a sky city, and there's this other place. I've not been there yet. I think what's it called? Polis?
They're all sort of spacey, sci-fi building locations.
It's very, very good. So
very fun.
You've been playing it, Ollie. You know how it works.
Yeah.
A bunch of you are trying to do tasks. Something's gone wrong, and you're just trying to do some regular maintenance on wherever you are. But one of you isn't doing maintenance. You're out to kill. And you're an imposter. You've got to fake doing tasks whilst also trying to get away with murder. And what I think is great about this game that beats stuff like murder and maybe to an extent Trouble in Terrorist Town is that it limits what the actual crewmates, the good guys, can do to just like tasks. But the tasks also give them something to do. You're not too overpowered. You haven't got a weapon. The only way you can potentially get rid of the imposter is by voting them out, by hopefully deducing them, getting people on your side and saying, yes, this person's the bad guy, kick him off the ship, and then the text says was not an imposter and you feel very bad.
Yeah. How many times, Hamish, have you just been like, I reckon it's this guy, and just convince everyone in the lobby like, it's red, I promise it's red, guys, and then it's not, and you're like, don't vote me, I promise I'm not the imposter, I just thought it was them.
See, I've not done that. So I've been playing with some of my friends, and a few of them are in Warwick Panto, and they've been playing as well. So I'm playing with a big mixture of people that I know and don't know. And the Warwick Panto rules are if you've kind of said it is absolutely this person, and they're really protesting, you can do what's called a 50-50. So if you are right, then that's good. They've been got rid of the ship. If you're wrong, you're the next to go. You say, I am so confident I'm willing to get ejected if I'm wrong.
Well, it's fun. Sounds like a fun rule, you know. I think the chaos of Among Us already, you know, you eject someone who isn't them, and you try and defend yourself, be like, look, I'm not the imposter. I just thought it was them.
Yeah,
You know,
no, I've not done that.
Yeah, unlike you, you've been playing with your friends and people. No, I've actually not played it with any friends at the moment. It's sad tears. I've just played it, you know, online multiplayer matchmaking, and it's just as funny because you have the typing and stuff, which is just as bad because people are there like scrambling to type, and you know, it's you can do tactics, all the same. But I think one thing which I've been playing a bit differently to you, you've been doing it where you have one imposter. I've actually been playing more where there's two.
Yeah, we play. It depends on the group size. A lot of yesterday we were smaller groups, so we were
makes it much more interesting.
Yeah, no.
You know, you could. Yeah, I think I've won a few when there's been two. I think my favorite win was when there was a few of us left, about 5 or 6 left, and they knew it was one. They didn't know who it was, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, it's this guy." Obviously, basing out my imposter friend. He got voted out, so I was immediately just deemed as clean, and then I won because I was the authority, being like, "Well, it must be you," voting everyone out, and then
that's really good. That's a smart play.
I mean, 4D chess. That is what I play here.
I have very mixed results. So when I was playing in a team of pair, so you know Wilkie, he's been on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
When I was playing with Wilkie, we had quite a good track record. I think we've won most of the games we've been imposter pairs as. Wilkie's girlfriend, who's a woman called Jade, we have the reverse effect. Every single time, I'm the one that ruins Jade. Twice, I murdered someone, got out of there, but Jade was right nearby and was accused of the murder, even though it was mine. She also happens to be an imposter. So I ruined her day. And then, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, then quite a lot of times I will do like the wrong sabotages. Twice I misjudged sabotages, which put her in a bad situation, which then also meant that we lost because I was dead. But on my own, to redeem myself, my last 2 games last night, very proud. Back to back, I was a solo imposter.
Ooh.
Clean. Was not discovered at all. Won before even anyone hit the emergency button or found a body, and I was very proud of myself. Everyone was very annoyed.
No, it's a great game. It's odd it's been out for 2 years. I think it's just one of those games where it gets picked up by, I'm assuming it was a YouTuber who probably picked up and went, this game's fun, and then it just sort of snowballed from there and is now one of the best-selling games on Steam alongside Fall Guys.
Yeah, I guess.
They are making the second one.
Yeah, they're making a second one. They announced that. I wonder if it's something to do with the fact they look like Fall Guys.
Maybe a bit.
I don't know. Or potentially it's quite fun to play. Obviously,
I mean, it's obviously people are buying it for a reason. Just, you know, sometimes games go and be like, yeah, here, play this game.
Good for them though.
Oh yeah, go for them. I don't think any of them could have imagined this would have happened now.
We're gonna talk about other stuff in a minute, but Ollie, have you bought one of the like pet packs on Steam?
No, I've not bought anything apart from the base game. You know, okay. You know me, I don't like microtransactions.
It's £2. You get 2 pets in a pack, and I'm gonna say I spent £2. I have a little hamster that follows me. It's very good, and what's even better is when you die, your pet will just stay where your body was, and looks really sad. And I like to go and, as a ghost, go and visit my pet. My other favorite thing as a ghost is to try and work out who the other imposter was. So if there's like 2 imposters, I like trying to see, oh, okay, who is it? I know this bad person, but who else? Who is it?
Who is it? Yeah, you can just follow them around as a ghost, can't you?
It's really, really fun. But yeah, if we play on, because we use Discord, but we sort of mute ourselves or just try not to talk about the game whilst we're playing the match. If we do that, I'll try to invite you to the next one because it's really good with like all the talking. Well, having talked about Among Us for a very long time, And we've mentioned Among Us 2. Maybe it will be out on the PlayStation 5, Ollie, because we just had that big showcase.
What a segue! What a segue there.
That'd be really good. Yes, of course. Xbox did all their stuff. It was kind of non-eventful. They just put out on a tweet. I assume they had something like Sony planned to
and then,
actually.
And someone came and leaked it and was like, "Yeah, I guess we'll just tweet it out. You know,
we'll just give the people what they want." And then Sony, a couple of days afterwards, said, "Yes, and we have something to say. We have a whole video on demand ready to go." With a lot of games, a lot of price reveals. I say 2 price reveals and 2 release dates for their 2 consoles.
2 release dates is a big thing there, you know. Oof.
Yeah. So, which way round do you want to go? Do you want to start with the console and then go on to the games, or do you want to just?
I can start with the games now. Go chronologically through this presentation. Did you watch it live, Hamish?
I was playing Among Us. I completely forgot it was happening.
Honestly.
It was so bad. I was just like, oh, damn, there's a showcase going. I should be watching this. But then I was like, but I'm the imposter and I have to win.
Well, I was on the scene, live watching. I was like, oh, yes, some good stuff's coming out. So, I mean, it kicked off with, it was Final Fantasy 16, wasn't it? The first reveal. I want to say, I'm hoping this is what I'm thinking. You know, I could be wrong, but I think it was Final Fantasy 16, which...
I've got a list which has Final Fantasy 16 up first.
Good. Yes, we do. I think I didn't steal mine from IGN, but I definitely was inspired by theirs. So thank you, IGN, for doing this. But Final Fantasy 16, you know, it looks good to me. I'm not really someone who's played that much Final Fantasy the series anyway. I played a few of the old ones and the new 7 remake. But I think lots of people were excited by this. Apparently, it looks to be going back to the roots of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to a more traditional fantasy setting. Some politics playing in there, which could be fun. I'm definitely kind of into Final Fantasy. I really want to play 15 at some point. Obviously, I love Kingdom Hearts, which has got loads of Final Fantasy characters in. And it's on Xbox Game Pass too, so that's all awesome. And then like they've shown that it's coming to PlayStation. Though ironically, apparently the footage that was shown at the event was running on PC and not PlayStation 5.
Well, I remember when the event first opened up, I was like, "Is this going to be like the Xbox event when it was running on an Xbox, sort of a PC with Xbox Series X specs?"
Yeah.
Luckily, there was just Final Fantasy 16 because. You know, I think it was a Square Enix game, and they must have only have it developed on a PC at the moment, because I think it is also coming to PC. It said underneath, console exclusive, little asterisks, also coming to PC. You know, just not Xbox. They might as well just have that in the title, just
not coming to Xbox.
Not coming to Xbox. You might as well have
Switch.
that in the PC. Or the Switch, yes. But I think for games like these, sometimes it's taken as a granted that it might not come to the Switch. But yeah, it looked good. It was a good start to the show. I thought, you know, I was like, okay, they're coming out of a big boy, a big new reveal. I was excited. Yeah, it got people interested. You know, sometimes start of shows they go a bit slow. People do a lot of talking. But I think when you just jump in with the game straight away, it's always a good start.
Yeah, and then on my list, I'm using GameSpot rather than IGN. We have jumping into I think another heavy hitter, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yes,
we've got a bit more look with some gameplay as well, which I'm sure you'll be very excited about. And also, I'm reading sort of some descriptions here. Apparently, dealing with some threats occurring in his neighborhood of Harlem, which I think is pretty cool that they're addressing this stuff.
Yeah, he moved to Harlem. I think, well, it was revealed earlier. There was an interview about the storyline and the setting, and it's in winter in Harlem. Yeah, I think his mother, Rio Morales, I think that's her name, is now running for some sort of political position, I guess Congress or something, and it sort of the bit end of the gameplay we see takes place there, and around that sort of scene we saw it was the Roxxon corporations, people to do with them, and the underground, they were going head to head. The game itself I thought looked really good. The snowy scene, you could tell if you go back and look, you could see, like, you know, the snow hitting the jackets, the puddles. You know, puddles are kind of a touchy subject for Spider-Man games sometimes, if you remember Puddlegate. It looks next gen, which was always good to see.
Yeah.
And then the gameplay came out, and I was like, "Oh yes!" First thing which captured my attention, the music. The music was fantastic. I thought it was, it was remixed. It sounds like Spider-Man PS4 remixed.
Yeah, which I guess is what you want. Something similar but different.
Yeah. Which it remixed in a really good way. And I was like, this sounds fantastic. It perfectly matched up with Miles Morales as a character. The gameplay, it does look similar in a way to the Spider-Man PS4, but I don't think that wasn't to be expected.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. You can't really reinvent the wheel. I think they did such a good job of making the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 gameplay already so good.
Exactly.
There'll be some new elements. Obviously, Miles has invisibility and some like poison zap stuff that he can do.
As well.
So I think there'll be enough sort of diversity there to keep players engaged.
Yes.
And I think the other good news as well was, because you showed me a list of all the prices for a lot of these games, this one's sticking at the usual. It's not jumped up to $70 unless you go for the the deluxe edition, which is pretty cool. It includes a remastered version of the original Marvel Spider-Man for PS4, so I guess you could play both, and I'm sure Spider-Man PS4 holds up right now. So
it's not that old of a game, is it? And it comes with a DLC as well.
Oh, that's such a good deal then. There's no reason not to get it, unless you already have the game.
The thing which lots of people were saying is, as soon as you saw the gameplay, they're like, I just really want to go and play Spider-Man PS4 again. That I think that's a sign that it's going to be a good game. People thinking this is like Spider-Man PS4. Obviously, it's a beloved game, Spider-Man 4. People love it. So, only good things to say about Spider-Man Miles Morales. The one criticism I will say, and it's not even about the game, it's about how the game was revealed. Not even how it was revealed, but just they did the trailer and it was all cool. And then, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then there's just a blog post came out, like literally during the show, said, oh, by the way, this is coming to the PS4 as well. By the way, it also includes Spider-Man PS4 Remastered as an Ultimate Edition. And then just loads of, by the way, here are some extra skins you can get from these stuff. And it was just loads of weird details, which I was like, oh, you could have included those in the trailer without having to do which I think is a theme throughout the show, I have to say. Lots of, like, it didn't even say it was a launch title. Well, it said Holiday 2020. It is a launch title.
Yeah, I guess that's the awkwardness of trying to do a console reveal and game reveals all at the same time, because you don't want to say it's coming November 12th, because if you keep having a load of games that say November 12th, November 12th, November 12th, then it's like, well, that's the date. So I think I can get that, though, because it did seem like there were a few sort of like, on the one hand, it's useful to put all that information in a big block of text. You can be like, yes, this is plain to see, and it might have been clunky to read that out on a stream, but also it's useful to actually explain. Like, I think it could have been pretty cool to say, and if you get the deluxe edition, you will get Spider-Man PS4 included, a remastered version with all the DLC. It would have been
15 seconds of
fine.
Spider-Man PS4 remastered, and then everyone would be like, oh, this looks so good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of games which look good, I think. I think the next one it's Hogwarts Legacy, is it? Is that the next one?
Yeah, this is the only one I've seen a trailer for, because I was interested in this game. I have previously been a very big Harry Potter fan, and back in the days of playing Harry Potter, like the book game, but the films turned into games on the PlayStation 2, sort of a more open world style was exactly what I wanted. I mean, I always loved just getting to try and run around, even fly around Hogwarts in some of those games, and getting to do all the weird different spells, puzzles, solving, all of that. This has taken obviously a lot of inspiration from those style of games. Avalanche Studios have thrown in some of their own bits and bobs to create what seems like a really, really awesome open world RPG set back in the 1800s, well before Harry Potter came to Hogwarts. And I think it's really, really cool that they've done that work. I just feel very sorry for them that obviously J.K. Rowling is not a very well liked character right now. She's still facing a lot of troubles for things she said towards the trans community, and I think it's been interesting seeing a lot of people on Twitter, I think, sharing. I share a sentiment with a lot of people I've seen on Twitter, sort of saying, this game looks awesome. It's what I've always wanted. It just doesn't sit right with me to go and buy it and support J.K. Rowling,
Yeah,
even if they include screw J.K. Rowling, trans women are women.
Lots of people, I think, are struggling with this problem at the moment. They're like, I want to buy the game; it looks really good, but I don't feel comfortable with J.K. Rowling. And there's only so far people at Warner Bros. And Avalanche can go by saying, well, J.K. Rowling wasn't involved in the making of a game. And while that is true to an extent, people still go, yeah, but will she profit from this? Likely
Exactly.
will. She either Warner Bros. Will have licensed the Harry Potter brand off her, or she will just get a cut of the profits. Who knows? But the point is, I think lots of people might be like, am I supporting J.K. Rowling? Do I want to support J.K. Rowling? And that's the issue now. I think, is it 2021 release date?
So they've got time. I think there are possibly things they could do. I think there are things that other people are doing. So on a individual level, I have seen some people saying, I plan to get this game, but I'm also going to donate as much money as I spend on the game to a trans charity, which is awesome, but also quite expensive for a lot of people. Not something that's going to be an option for everyone. It's certainly not an option for me right now.
In the world of these types of business sort of things, and people talk about J.K. Rowling, money talks is always the one thing. And if Warner Bros. Games get a sniff that this is going to affect their game sales, they could easily be on the phone to J.K. Rowling, like, J.K. Rowling, you're ruining our game's reputation. You are going to affect our game sales. We're going to either sue you, or you're going to get no money from this because you just negatively impacts our game. So if they could easily be like, J.K. Rowling, can you just chill for a while while we release this game?
I think that's something they'll need to do. They'll need to try and make clear that either she won't be getting money from it. Maybe if the companies do something for charity, that could persuade a lot of people to buy the game. If they say, we'll support some trans charities. I think the other thing as well, they could maybe include a lot of stuff in game to promote trans issues. Obviously that might be difficult, depends how much control Rowling has over the game, and also you don't want to sort of ham fist something in just to try and for sort of capitalist reasons. You want to treat it with care and appropriateness, so sort of they don't want to just sort of shove in a load of trans things and then do it wrong. But I think trying to do something right is definitely what they need to do. And I just also feel sorry for Avalanche, because looking at the game, it looks like they've put a lot of time and effort into
Not
it.
many people talk about the actual game, but I think it looked great. I think one thing they've done well, which no one's really mentioned as much, is they've separated Hogwarts from Harry Potter. In the sense that it can be the world without the characters, which is what they're trying to sort of capitalize on, which I think is a great sort of thing to do. Well, I suspect they'll have a few cameos here. Maybe Dumbledore will appear probably.
I don't know if is he that old?
He might be that old. I don't know.
They mentioned team up with iconic characters, I guess he could be over 100, but it does sort of there is a limited number of iconic characters, but I guess Dumbledore could work. I just don't know how old all these characters are meant to be in the universe.
No,
it depends when in the 1800s it is, but maybe move on to the next game.
What was it? This list is, I think it was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, the campaign. That's what I want to say it was.
I don't have that on this list, but if you've got that on yours, you can talk about it. I have only 2 more games on this.
You only have 2. I have a lot more. I can cut some out because I don't care about a few of them. No offense to these games. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, the campaign was revealed. It looked like a Call of Duty campaign. What else can I say? They're trying on this Cold War. It was a Iran hostage crisis. So we're trying to play more on the historical side of it, which doesn't sit as right with some people as it does with others. But one thing which was announced, which is exciting for me at least, is the alpha starts tomorrow. It's an open alpha for PlayStation players, so I'll be jumping into some multiplayer tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, depending on when it goes live, which is always exciting to play a new game's alpha or beta. It might be awful, who knows, but I do like a good Call of Duty game. It's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah. What do you think? Isn't President Richard Nixon in this one?
It's Ronald Reagan, isn't it?
Ronald Reagan.
It's just like you're there, cool.
Okay.
What it's like, he looks pretty realistic, but I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. Something about it makes me go.
Would you prefer they did the thing they often do in media where they go, "Oh, it's a president. It's just not an actual president.
I mean,
it's
I
just
get why they do it
a
because
person."
they've Call of Duty's exhausted lots of sort of areas and military histories or military type storylines. So the Cold War is an area they haven't really focused on, and I think they've gone ultra hard on the no. Well, they say they've gone ultra hard on the know your history. There's obviously will be lots of revisionism in this to make it a Call of Duty story, and lots of it will be fiction. But I mean, it's cool to see them use Richard Nixon. But you
Ronald
know,
Reagan. Didn't you just say Ronald Reagan?
Ronald Reagan.
I got you wrong.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it should be okay. It's just odd seeing Ronald Reagan in there. I think that's all. That's all I can say. I'm just like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know whether it'll actually be in the game that much, or if it just sort of pumped it up and hyped it up for marketing, and the footage we've seen of him is the only footage we'll see throughout the game. You know, maybe he doesn't seem like he has that much of a big role to play. You know, you're not going into combat as Ronald Reagan. Well, if they made him a skin, then that's a different story, you know.
that's an entirely different concept problem.
That's a pre-order bonus.
That's gonna be spicy. Yeah, I don't really have much else to add. It's Call of Duty if you like that sort of stuff. Though I do find it funny. It's like, wait, what? A game that tries and releases every year has exhausted the recent modern history of combat and war. Wow, what an insane concept.
Yeah, they're
gonna do it like a Far Cry Primal, and we're all gonna be blown away.
People did not like World War II when they went back to then, so I think they're sticking with.
They're gonna have, you get single shot. It's gonna like cavalry in the ancient days. You get a single shot, and it takes you a whole 5 minutes to reload.
Yes. Lovely stuff.
That would be a hot take of a game.
It would be, but not
realistic.
Oh my, the amount of hate that would get.
So all I have on here is a Demon's Souls remake.
Yep. The only other I can just list, we had Resident Evil Village, looks okay. The trailer.
I don't have that on this list, but yeah, I will watch more of that.
It looks fine. Deathloop actually looks really interesting. I liked the first trailer, the Bethesda game, where you're sort of stuck in a loop. We saw some gameplay for that, and it looks sort of much more tactical than I first thought. So I'd recommend anyone who's not watching just to watch the trailer. It explains it much better than I could do just here. This is the point of the show, the mid-show, when I didn't switch off, but I was like looking at other stuff from earlier in the show. So like Devil May Cry 5, Oddswell Soulstorm, Five Nights at Freddy's. You know, I know that's big for lots of people.
I like FNAF. To be fair, I say that I've not really played many FNAF games.
It's for lots of people who love that type of game. What
I really like is to go over and watch the Game Theory YouTube channel with Matt Pat, and him just explain all the Five Nights at Freddy lore. I don't really play the games anymore. I just can't get enough of him explaining this such convoluted thing, and for most of the time, if I don't play the game, I don't watch the theory because it's not fun watching a video on a game you don't play. For Five Nights, I am in. I am just invested fully, and every single time there's just even a hint of one of those animatronics in a thumbnail, I'm like, I'm on. I'm going straight forward.
You've clicked on that video. You've given them your ad revenue.
Exactly. Doing my thing. Doing
your bit.
Doing my bit.
Apart from that, Fortnite in Unreal Engine 5. Fortnite is coming to PlayStation 5. Big surprise. Release date title, Fortnite. I don't think anyone's surprised by this.
It's such a good game.
Congratulations, Fortnite. You've survived into the next generation.
I mean, they're still doing really good. All that Marvel stuff. GTA
5 if
I hope so.
Generation, maybe.
I'm like this close to being level 100 in this season. It's only week 4, so I am very excited. I'm gonna probably play a lot more Fortnite after the show is done. So, long live Fortnite. Yes.
That's the tweet. Long live Fortnite.
Long live Fortnite.
Then we've got, as you mentioned earlier, Demon's Souls remake. Also, well, it wasn't confirmed of a show, but it was afterwards. Launch title.
Though £70, or not £70, $70. I don't know how that'll work out in pounds, but
£60, I think.
£60.
Or maybe 70. I think it's a lot of money, basically.
Yeah. For a remake.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of money. I think people are a bit scared that these what just the prices next gen games are going to be now.
Hmm.
They might be maybe for some games like PlayStation exclusives, Xbox exclusives, maybe. I mean, it looks okay to me. I haven't played the first one. I've looked at the footage since, and it looks much nicer. But there's just I don't know how to describe it. It just looks off to me sometimes. Like it looks too clean, is what I'd say. It looks a bit smooth.
Okay.
I think it needs to be more textured, a bit rough, a bit.
They've
I
tried
don't
to
know.
sort of upscale it and they've smoothed it all out, and you're like, yeah, but I want it to look dark and gritty,
I
and
think
it doesn't.
like it doesn't
If it
look
looks
as
like
dark as Dark Souls. That's what I
like
think
if you
I'm
can,
trying to say.
I feel like if it looks like it's sort of I could run over and bounce off an object, I don't feel like
Yeah,
I'm not scared of it anymore. Yeah, I can
yeah.
definitely understand
I
that
think
sentiment.
lots of people will love it. I think people have been reacting like, "Oh, look at the bosses! The boss looks so cool." I think the gameplay trailer didn't do it justice. Like
Yeah.
the guy was just walking along and one shot all the enemies, and I was like, "Isn't this supposed to be a really hard game where like you have to have every single fight is like a challenge or something?"
Yeah, it's not really the game you want to show off in like a 10-minute
And
splice, or
it was
not
just
like a
it was just
15-second splice.
he
You
was
want
just
to,
walking down and went one shot and just kept one shotting them until the enemy boss and then he died to the boss, which is kind of oh yeah you'll get killed by the boss. But I think it was okay. Probably not the best gameplay
yeah.
trail I've ever seen, but at least it was gameplay.
That's one you want, like a good 10 minutes of someone actually playing it. You can
Yeah,
see the
I do think they will
smooth skilled.
do either. Well, I think they'll probably do another Spider-Man Miles Morales, like individual state of play for that.
Yeah.
Maybe Demon Souls might get one. Who knows? And then before the final game, which I think is the final game, there was a
Yeah.
brief. It's not a game, but it's a collection of games in the
Yes.
PS Plus collection, which is not PS Now. So I don't know what's going to happen to
They're
PS Now.
just this
It's
Sony
just
have just balked all of the messaging on this, because it is so odd that you'd go, yes, so we have this live like Netflix style service, and we have this other service, and we could be like Xbox where we have two separate things, or we could just give this one some Netflix style service now and make them both kind of similar, and this one almost seems a bit obsolete because it doesn't have as good of games in it anymore, and I don't understand why Sony have done this. Why don't they just make sense for once?
Yeah, for context, the PS Plus collection
I'll be back in a
is a collection of I think it's just PS4 games, mainly exclusive PlayStation 4 games. I think there's a few others which aren't exclusive thrown in. I think Mortal Kombat's in there. There's a few others out in there which but included. I remember Detroit Become Human came up. Days Gone, God of War, The Last of Us Remastered was in there. So quite a lot of these big PlayStation titles which people want to do, and I think it's included for free with PS Plus, and it's a great idea. I haven't played some of these games. I will want to go and play some of these titles when they release on the PlayStation 5. Whether they will get upgrades, I'm not so sure. I don't think that it didn't say anything about graphical upgrades or remasters or PS5 upgrades, so maybe they might not be getting anything. But as you said, I subscribe to PS Now. I want to know what's going to happen to PS Now. It's got. I think PS Now doesn't have any of those games, and it might have one or two. I think it, but I'm like, well, does PS Now need to exist anymore? Is PS Now being absorbed into the PS Plus collection? I just don't know. I think as you've said, it's a bit confusing at the moment. I'm like, if you want to do it, just do it as a whole package. PS Plus with PS Now, or PS Plus with the collection, and PS Now is £7-8 a month. It's them going, look, we know you like Xbox Game Pass, but we can't do it. Have some games though. Are you happy now? Are you happy now? You can play God of War on a subscription service.
Leave us alone.
Leave us alone.
Take this and go. Get out of here.
No, you're not having Spider-Man Miles on a PS Now Game Pass or whatever. No, we're not doing.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to sort out one or two things on the stream, but I can't work it out, so I will do that later. But basically, yeah, it's a bit of a mess, and I think we'll talk a bit more about some of this stuff a bit later on when we get onto our big topic. So we can. I want to say we can wrap this up, but we've still got quite a bit to say. So I feel like there was a really quick tease from God of War for a sequel, which I think people are going to be very excited about.
I think it was the Ragnarok, yeah.
Yeah, Ragnarok's going to be coming, which is obviously big news because they've gone to the Norse mythology now. And yeah, I don't think there's not really much else to say.
It was like a Nintendo Direct and one more thing. Like,
here we go.
Who knows?
It should be good.
It's a while off. Well, it might not be that long off. I think late 2021. It could be the big holiday title of 2021. Maybe. Who knows? We'll have to see. But yes, that's all the games.
That was not it all.
Cool. Obviously, games. We want more.
Exactly.
We want more details.
And so we got not only the PS5 price, and we also got a release date. Somewhat unsurprisingly, they have two consoles. We've already known that. So we had the PlayStation 5 with a disc drive, and then an identical console without a disc drive, which I guess is kind of different to Xbox because they're the Xbox Series S lacks a disc drive and is also spec'd slightly lower. But the PlayStation 5 full edition came at exactly the same price as the Xbox Series X. Not surprising. I don't think they could really have gone cheaper, and I don't think they could have gone higher. I think that would
$499 is a fair price, or $499, and then it was $399 for the PS5 digital, or £359, which I thought was like,
that's odd.
I was like, just make it £349. That's that extra £10 just doesn't sit right with me. You've got the similar going. Do it for the pounds one, but the prices I think some people might have thought that Sony might have lowered them by £50 after the Xbox prices came out. I don't know.
I don't, because so using some of my business knowledge, I think Sony wants to sell themselves as like, this console is a premium console. Like, you look at it, it looks high tech and high powered. Even though sort of there's the element of like, I don't want to spend a lot of money on something. When it comes to tech and particularly high value items, it almost flips. So if they're trying to sell themselves as the top brand product, yet they're £50 cheaper than the other one, for some people they'll go, that's not, well, why would I go for that one? It's cheaper, therefore it's not as good. So I think by going for the same price, they're still maintaining that. I don't think they could have gone lower, because then that would start to throw in some of those.
They couldn't have gone lower
psychological things.
Sony's already making a loss on the PlayStation 5 as it is.
Oh, yeah.
Any lower, and they might as well not release it, or they'd be earnings would be much, much, much lower. But I think it's fair price range.
And I've got to say the disc drive, like the fact that they've taken off £100 or just £90 and $100, that's a lot. That's quite a hefty price reduction. So
we can discuss it later. I mean, we can part of it.
But I think that's interesting that it did come out quite that low. I think we both predicted it would be about £50 less.
Yeah, so I was like, I think it'll be 50. If they really, really want to try and sell it, they could be £100 low. But yeah, it's a good. If you really wanted that, I think people will be happy. But I'm happy with the £449 for the normal base PS5.
Exactly.
The one thing I'm not happy about.
No, not at all.
Release date. Who at the end of the day, it sounds right, because who cares about the release date? It's the November 12th is the release date for the US, Australia, Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea. I think that's all the places.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the world, which includes us here in the UK, will get the PS5 a week later on November the 19th. And I just saw it and I was like, it's 20. Like, I know they did it for the PS3 the PS4, and it's been a trend in the past. But I'm like, it's 2020. We can do worldwide release. I know there's a coronavirus pandemic going on, but just push back.
Xbox is doing it.
Doing it. Push back the PlayStation 5 in the US and Australia and everywhere to November the 19th if it's so much of an issue for that 1 week.
Yeah.
I just think a staggered release just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, particularly because 2 days is kind of fine, I guess. You sort of go, well, yeah, 2 days, 2 days,
Yeah,
days.
sometimes it
But
happens in
9 days is over a week. That's quite a long time to be behind your biggest competitors. And I guess sort of the US is going to be one of the main markets but Europe is, as a whole, is still pretty big, even if individual countries aren't.
It's really competitive as well. And for the console wise, it's lots of people still have Xboxes as well. And I don't think this will be really doing much to help.
No, so because I think there's a lot for people really to be considering, and also though at the end of the day, you've got to consider that it is coming up right up to holidays, and so there'll be people maybe like you and I that will be pre-ordering these consoles to get them on the release. I still don't know if I'm going to pre-order either at this point in time. Wait and see, maybe in a couple of weeks. But for a lot of other people, it's going to be a Christmas gift, either for someone else or for themselves, that sort of time of the year. And I feel like maybe that week doesn't matter so much for those kinds of people, assuming that the consoles are restocked by Christmas, because it's only a month away after that.
At the end of the day, release date, I don't think it'll make too much difference as to whether you decide to buy the Xbox or the PS5. If you're set on a PS5, I don't think you'd be like, oh well, I want the Xbox now because I can get it a week earlier. I think you'll be more like, I'll just get the PlayStation and wait a week. It's not as big of a deal as I first was like, oh, a week. Oh, what am I going to do for that week? But it'll be fine. It's a shame. I understand it because it is, I think, probably due to coronavirus distribution issues, and the fact they're releasing it all is good enough for me.
Exactly. The only other thing I thought was really interesting is that the PS5 controller costs like nearly like $70.
It was.
Yeah, it's quite expensive, isn't it?
£59.99. I know that because I actually bought or pre-ordered a second one. Yeah, I've no control.
That's fair. That is quite a lot.
It's a lot of money. Next gen controls. I think the Xbox One will probably be priced similar level for the new one, but you can obviously use the other ones and the old ones on the thing. Although I am curious because I think with all these PS4 games coming to the PS5, I think you can still use your PS4 controller. Oh, I have my kind of flex of my PS4 with its little phone case on, so I can play XCloud.
You can use your PlayStation 4 controller for PlayStation 4 games. They still haven't put out a full list of all of those, which is kind of odd.
99% of PlayStation 4 games are apparently compatible, according to Jim Ryan. So it's I don't know. Sony have just, we can talk about this now. Sony have just been a bit confused in their messaging in the last few days. I think nothing better encapsulates this confusion than whatever has happened in the last 12 hours, or 24 hours maybe, with the pre-orders.
Yeah, you told me about this last night.
Which is what it is. So to put it into context, I had been following the show, following the updates, doing loads of stuff on it, and being like, okay, cool. Pre-orders are tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. That was apparently confirmed after the show. Sony didn't tell it. This was found out from Jeff Keighley, the host of the Game Awards. He just tweeted, oh, by the way, pre-orders will be going live tomorrow. And then everyone was like, well, what? Rumors started flying around. And then finally, the PlayStation UK account tweeted, oh, yeah, pre-orders will be live tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Or I think it was 8 or 9 a.m. So I was like, cool, 8 a.m. Let me whip up all the tabs. So I opened up the game tab, the Smiths tab, the Amazon tab, the Couriers tab, did I open up any others? I think they were the main four.
Doesn't matter.
The main one, Argos as well, actually. So I opened up them. I'd set an alarm for like 6:30, 7. I was already tired because it was already 12 and I'd been, watching all this stuff. And
whoa, you're committed.
I was like, okay, I'm going to bed now. Let me just check my Twitter, have a little look, relax. And then people were like, when are pre-orders going live? When are pre-orders going live? Oh, apparently some retailers have done it. It said something in Ireland, a GameStop in Ireland GameStop in Ireland has opened its pre-orders and it's sold out already. And I was like, this is curious. And I was like, I wonder if any UK are. And I was just scrolling down and I saw someone say pre-orders are live, at some UK retailers. And I was like, this is very curious. So I clicked on Smiths myself, I clicked on game, and there they were, lo and behold, It was live.
Great.
It's
That
live.
is
It's 12 o'clock on this. Well, just before midnight, and I was a bit like, what do I do? Do I order it? Is this real? Is this fake? Am I not? I first had to actually double check the Smith's website to make sure I wasn't on some scam
phishing
site.
website. Yeah, just send us £500 or whatever for the.
Because I was in a panic and I was like, do I order on Game or Smith's? I have to make a decision quick. At one point, I was like, oh, I can just go into GameStop, the game store tomorrow and order it. I made the decision. I've ordered it from Smith's. $449.99. It's there. My bank account might be crying, but it's all good. So I pre-ordered it, and then by now it was about 12:30. So I was like, okay, I've ordered it now. I was like, I think I messaged my friend who was in bed saying, by the way, the PS5 pre-orders are up. So he ordered one as well off Game.
Go.
And then it got to 1:45, and then someone tweeted out, "Oh yeah, digital. The game has sold out of digital editions of the PS5 already." Whoa. And I was like, "Okay." And then I went to bed, and then I woke up and they're like, "Yeah, PS5s have sold out on Game. They've sold out on Smiths already."
You made the right decision.
Argos isn't opening it up until Friday, so it's still not open. But we still think it's going on Amazon at 9 and Curry's at 9 as well. So I was like, I've got it. There was pictures on Twitter of people outside game stores, like big 30 plus people queues and all this stuff at 6 a.m. So I'm glad that I didn't go to a store in Leamington. And then
that would have not been good with COVID. Big long lines and lots of people and a virus do not mix. It does not work.
And then the Amazon site went live and it sold out within 10 minutes, as it would. Both sold out in 10 minutes. Curry's website went live, it crashed. People had queues and it was like, oh yeah, you're number 6,000 in the queue. And then they would finally get to the front of the queue and then the website would just go down. So I was very lucky. Lots of people might have missed out on the orders. And I think in general, what people are annoyed at is just the lack of communication and the lack of because I remember there was I think it was in August, there was a rumor that PS5 pre-orders were going to go live around August 12, August 13. And everyone was there refreshing pages on Amazon going, when is it going to go live? When's it going to go live? When's it going to go live? And then they did this PS5 controller hands-on with Jeff Keighley and Eric Lempel, he's a big exec at PlayStation. He was like, we'll let you know when the PlayStation 5 is going to go on pre-order. We're not just going to drop it out of nowhere. And here we are.
Dropped out of nowhere.
People have missed out on their consoles and they are very annoyed. If I had decided at 12 o'clock, I've got an early start tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up early and be refreshing at game sites at 6:30 in the morning, I could have missed out potentially. So I would have been pretty annoyed then. And I think quite a lot of people were annoyed at that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they've really thought through it all. And
whether it was just the retailers or it was PlayStation, who knows? They might have just been like, right, you can do it now. And all the retailers were immediately like, right, let's put them up. Put them up immediately. We'll get them all now. So it's chaos.
I think this has turned our topic from sort of, I think from what I originally was to sort of more messaging and everything making sense, because I want to sort of wrangle this over to what we were originally going to be talking about, which I think in a way falls into the similar idea of messaging certain ideas, particularly with the consoles, and how big is digital only going to be? You're going to be saving £100-ish up front, and it looks like, I don't know whether there were fewer of those consoles available, but it's interesting that those are the ones that sold out first on game.
I mean, my opinion is digital, these £359 digital consoles are not going to be big, purely because there's not many of them.
Yeah.
Just literally, I think it was on VGC, the site, and there was reports that, retailers had very few of these digital editions available in the first place, which makes me almost be like, well, did Sony just be like, hey, look, you can get this really cheap version of the PS5, and people are like, wow, the PS5 is so affordable, but then they went to buy that version, so it was sold out, and we're like, well, I'll just get a more expensive one then,
Yeah.
I don't get this one, I'll just get the other one, but it was a way to get in the first place.
Maybe I guess it's kind of interesting though, because it saves you money up front, but a lot of people saying, well, if you are someone that needs to cost save or wants to cost save on consoles, obviously the place to go is pre-owned games or buying physical, because you can often get quite good deals.
It's not a cheap.
Digital isn't a cheap option. Exactly, unless you wait for ages for like some big summer discount. But even then, you can't like trade it in and get some money back.
I am looking here. I've got my shelf of games. I can solidly say I own very few digital games on my PlayStation, like big digital games, like as in ones I bought on release or something like that, purely because I like having not just like having the boxes, but they're always cheaper.
Yeah.
They usually come with some sort of deal in terms of like a pre-order bonus on Amazon, like their own special. They'll get like a few bonuses if you order from Amazon or from Game. And then, as you said, resale value. If I was like, I hate PlayStation, Xbox is my new best friend.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I hate PlayStation and just despise the company so much that I wanted to sell everything involved. I could easily go take my PlayStation 4, take all my games, and be like, "Can you please buy this off me for how much money so I can go fund an Xbox?"
I mean, I did that recently with not swapping stuff, but I took in a load of games that I had, traded them in. Though weirdly, I don't really buy that many physical games. I do predominantly buy digital games. And I think the other big part of that is with Xbox, even though I'm not actually buying the game, it's Game Pass. And you know, that's how you get so many games, and therefore so in that way, the Series S really makes sense as a cost-saving console. It's like half the price of the other consoles, not quite, but roughly. And you also have a really cheap Netflix of games with Game Pass, and so it's going to continually save you money for these fantastic deals. Whereas Sony have gone, yes, we're going to copy that, but we're not going to fully copy it, and it doesn't really quite work out that way.
They, reduce the cost of digital games to be the exact same price as physical games, or maybe they've done it the other way around, whereas physical games now cost the exact same as digital.
Because
there's no difference in the price anymore, so there's no reason not to get digital, and then we get more money because we don't have to give retailers any cuts of it.
Retailers aren't stupid. If you are saying like, yes, if they're trying to really push a digital only console, if I was someone like Game, I'd be like, well, I'm not selling it. And you could say, well, that's sort of shooting yourself in the foot, and maybe it would be, but over time, you're going to basically telling people, yes, don't buy this console, and you never have to come back to this store. You do not need to buy any physical games. You can't buy any physical games. And that's kind of the joy of going to Game. I do enjoy looking at things. So the one console I do buy physical for is Switch, because those like Nintendo cartridges hold their value. Nintendo is very much like, yes, we don't do discounts. So we're going to keep them at... Pokemon will sell for £60 today, and it will sell for £60 in 3 years' time.
Try and find a copy of Breath of the Wild for less than I bought it for when I got it on release day. I got it for $45.99 on its release, which from Smiths, and it is now a solid £50 game minimum. Yeah, still now 3.5 years later.
It's a good game.
It's a very good game.
Is it that good though? Is it £50 3 years later? I don't know.
It's still very expensive. But yeah, digital.
Just play Skyrim.
Digital editions of consoles. It was never for me. I think I'm just as well. I like having the feel of a physical. I'm like, yes, here's my game. I own this game. You can't take this game away from me. Well, you could, but it's mine now.
I have come along and grab it from your, rip it from your hands.
I have a disc. You can't take away the license. Well, I don't know if you can, but I can sell it to someone else if you took away my license.
You can go to your friend and give it to them.
Exactly. And, the PlayStation 5 comes out. I'm not going to be buying 10 games for the PlayStation 5 immediately. I'll probably buy 1, like 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, these games are fun, but I want to play, what's it there? I want to play The Last of Us Part 2 again. I want to play Ghost of Tsushima again, and I want to play Cricket 19.
Yes, you do.
How can I play these PS4 games on my PS4 my PS5 digital edition when they're in discs? I can't insert the disc.
That's actually really good.
I can insert the PS4 disc. So I don't know how it works with the PS4 library in terms of if you downloaded digital games, maybe it installs them, maybe it copies it. That's one thing we don't know for sure yet.
We still don't know things. That's so odd, because I feel like we kind of understand how Xbox is doing, because they've just been like, yes, backwards compatible works pretty similar.
We can't give Xbox too much of a goodwill to this week, because they have come up with some confusing messaging, and I think you know what I'm saying. For the Xbox Series S, the Xbox Series S's backwards compatibility is not the Xbox One X's backwards compatibility. It's the Xbox One S's backwards compatibility. Just to make things much more confusing and much more unnecessary for themselves and for everyone involved.
I wonder if that does seem like very odd messaging. I wonder if there's just like one or two other components that that they had to take out of that console to make it what it was. I don't know. It
just seems odd. Like, really?
It might be something to do with the emulator and how it's running it. Because I think emulators can sometimes take up a bit more power than you might expect. Because you're basically trying to run everything you're currently running, plus pretending to be another console, and then finally running the game. So maybe because you've got that 3-step, it's just like, well, if we try and run it as an X, it really stutters. But if we bring it down to the S, it's able to run all three things.
In terms of raw teraflops, the Xbox One X is more powerful than the Series S.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not as powerful with its internal architecture, but maybe it's to do with the internal power. The Xbox Series S, as you said, might overheat.
It will do some things. Like, I think that it will still have, like, it will still look good. So I think they've said the Xbox, like the next gen games, will look better on the S than they do on the X. It is just odd that the current gen will look better on the X, but it is what it is. And at least they've sort of said this is the case.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that that's better than letting it wait and see and then being like a bit disappointed. But it gives me an extra reason to keep my really cool looking X with all the splotches on it.
I mean, I can't see myself buying an Xbox. If I was, it would be the Series S. As you said, cheaper, just for Game Pass.
It's the Game Pass machine.
For now, I'll stick to the PS4. I go to the PS4, another controller, and the PS4 charging dock. Nothing to do with the remote. Nothing to do with the headphones. Nothing to do with that. There's another peripheral. The camera. I don't know why you need a camera. But I guess for streaming. Streaming,
PS5 camera or for PSVR if they do more with that.
PSVR.
But we declared that dead last week.
PSVR dead. PS5.
PS5.
That did not make sense, but PSVR bad, PS5 good.
Sure. I mean, the PS5 event was good, so I will give it a good as well. Yes. Even me as an Xbox fan. But I think that is unfortunately all we have time for this week. Thank you everybody for watching us live on Twitch. If you did, thank you for watching this on YouTube, if you're one of those YouTube people. And thank you for listening to us on podcast services. Give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, a 5-star review, whatever's appropriate for your platform. It really helps us out. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. I've been a bit dormant lately, only a couple of posts, but I'm going to be trying posting a bit more frequently, particularly because we have some big news. I'm going to try and start streaming a bit regularly. I want to get some experience doing that, and I'll be using the Warthog Twitch channel because we've already got it as a thing. Depending when Ollie's free, I'm sure he might join in at some point for different things.
Get some Among Us going.
Yeah, well,
get some Cricket 19 streams.
You can definitely do that. I plan to be streaming on Monday. I'd quite like to play some Kingdom Hearts. I have a hankering to go back to the Kingdom Hearts 1, and I want to try and get every single achievement because I have not played them on Xbox yet. And I got quite a lot of the trophies when they were on the PlayStation 4 when I was using my friend's one, but I want to try and get every single achievement because there are even some trophies I didn't get. So I'll be playing the classic Kingdom Hearts 1. And I'll
be tuning
hopefully play Among Us, Fortnite, all of that at some point.
Cricket 19.
Maybe Cricket 19. You can do that whenever you want, Ollie. Just tell me you want to do it.
We've got to play together. Cricket 19 multiplayer.
Is it cross-platform?
Probably not. It's not that developed.
No. Oh well, we'll work it out. I'm sure. I'll get a PlayStation 4 just for Cricket 19. That's the hot take.
The end of this show can end with the Warthog is now a Cricket 19 channel. It's declared. That's what we are dedicated to now. Sorry, guys.
So expect all the new Cricket 19 news next week. It's goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
Bye.
Bye.